I love dumb guns. I love cheap guns. When you have a dumb, cheap gun, I'm guaranteed to buy it. The Rossi Brawler is a dumb, cheap gun. It's a 45 Colt slash 410 pistol. Rossi's owned by Taurus, and one of Taurus's most successful firearms is the Judge. So it kind of makes sense that they're willing to keep with the 45 Colt 410 theme for other firearms. Now, the Rossi Brawler has an MSRP of $260. I picked up two of them for less than 400, one used, one new, and it seems like retail price hovers around 220 for a new gun, so it's fairly cheap. The Brawler is a single shot, break open design. Rossi makes a lot of different break open rifles and shotguns, and the Brawler is basically a pistol version of these guns. Rossi just recently released a survival rifle, which is a break open 45 Colt slash 410 that's basically the grown up version of this gun. The Brawler comes with a hefty rubber grip, an optics rail that also kind of conceals a rear sight. It does have a rear sight. It's tough to see from most photos online, but there is this small little rear sight in the ass end of the rail. It doesn't have much else to talk about. It's very simple, and that's fine. There's a crossbolt safety. There's a easy to reach break open button. It's a hammer fire single action only gun. It does have an ejector. That's pretty cool. So if you open the breech, the shells or cases just fly out. You might have clicked on this video, see the odd looking gun in the thumbnail. It's my little bit of clickbait. So when I bought two of these guns, I decided to keep one stock, or mostly. I did add a little two-shot side saddle Velcro thing on it. The second, I kind of went to town with a Dremel and 3D printer. I modified a Mossberg 500 shockwave grip to fit the gun, which was actually really, really easy. There's a short on my channel, shows you how to do this if you want to. If you guys really want a more in-depth version, I guess I could do it again. But then I went to my favorite subreddit, FossCAD, and I found a handguard designed by a guy named Veld Khan. He actually has three handguards on there, so I 3D printed this one. It has a nice little compartment that you can hide snacks in, or I guess maybe survival goodies or something like that, whatever you want it to. We get the rail and a side saddle and some footage. It's also 3D printed, but it actually broke fairly quickly into shooting, so I took it off and put the stock rail back on. I plan to revisit that side saddle in the future, but I kind of suck with CAD, and 3D printing is new to me. The Rossi is silly and it's cheap, but what's it for? There's an argument that it could be a dedicated survival gun. 410 allows you to take small game and even medium game with buckshot at close ranges. 45 Colt, it's no pushover. It could stop larger threats or kill deer, hogs, things like that. Could be a decent pest control gun. But ultimately, I really think it's a fun gun, and I think the performance kind of leans more towards the fun part of the spectrum for what this gun can be used for, because this gun is definitely on the spectrum. So right off the bat, the Brawler suffers the same fate as the Judge. The gun's rifled barrel really screws up 410 patterns. Birdshot patterns are crazy. They're kind of like a donut of death, where your point of aim has no pellets, but the rest of the shot is spread far and wide. At 10 yards, the pattern is barely on a piece of printer paper. Buckshot also patterns terribly. It doesn't pattern consistently at all. At 10 yards, one of 5 pellets from a 3-inch buckshot load hit an A-zone sized red rectangle, and that just sucks. What about 45 Colt? Yeah, it does okay. It's fine. The 45 Colt round has to move through about 2 inches of unrifled bore, and that's designed for the the 410 before it meets the light rifling of the barrel. And this plays wacky with the accuracy of the gun. At 25 yards with the iron sights, I can make a hand-sized group, which is about 7.5 inches. That's a pretty big group at 25 yards. I'm using cheap cowboy load 45 Colt and iron sights. Optics and better ammo might help, but this thing will never be as accurate as a dedicated 45 Colt firearm. Where the gun works really well with the dedicated 410 handgun loads. Winchester, Hornady, and Federal all make handgun 410 loads, and out of this gun, those actually do work well. They pattern consistently. They offer you more range, more accuracy, and if I had to pick a serious use case, I'd probably use one of these. But that does mean you have to buy premium ammo to get workable results. A cheap gun with pricey ammo just isn't as appealing. Now, using the dedicated 410 ammo, I did see really tight patterns from the Hornady critical defense load, which has a 41 caliber slug and two 35 caliber balls. That was a great load. That's a really great round that patterns very tightly. I also saw excellent performance from a Federal 410 buckshot load designed for handguns. Patterns tightly, patterns as you expect from a shotgun. The Winchester PDX load's interesting. I like the discs. Those do pattern very tightly. They engage the rifling too, so they help out a little bit there. The problem is that Winchester backs it with this stupid BB load, and those BBs go everywhere. So I would never use it for any real serious defensive application, but I would never use the Brawler for a serious defensive application anyway. Recoil varies quite a bit depending on what you're shooting. A triple-aught 3-inch load has stout recoil. The rubberized grip helps a lot, but still quite stout. My finger would often hit the trigger guard as the gun recoiled. It's not pleasant, but I wouldn't say it's overly painful. I shot it quite a bit, and I really didn't mind. I didn't feel like I needed to stop and take a break at the end of the day. Birdshot loads and even 2.5-inch buckshot loads are actually quite pleasant through the gun. It's a big gun, it's a heavy gun, so there's not a huge deal there. 45 Colt rounds aren't bad either. Obviously, there's a big difference between cowboy loads and really hardcore dedicated 45 Colt loads, but if this thing can shoot 3-inch buckshot without any problem, it's going to handle any 45 Colt you put through it. So let's move to the other Brawler, the one with the shockwave grip. That is a much more comfortable option, even with the 3-inch buckshot. I think the Brawler should really just come with the dedicated shockwave grip. It couldn't be that hard to make one. I guarantee the Shockwave Industries would do it. Overall, it's fantastic, and it's just much easier to shoot. It doesn't hurt your hand at all. It's not stout. My hand's not hitting the trigger guard with this grip. That's really the route I would take. That 3D printed handguard's also nice because it allows me to get a front grip, and anytime I shoot a shotgun or a pistol that fires shotgun rounds, I prefer to have what's called a push-pull to mitigate recoil. I'm pulling rearward on the pistol grip and pushing forward with the handguard, and that really cuts recoil down. And from a gun like a 410, there's already barely any recoil, so every little bit helps. Gun's ejector works pretty well. The only real problem I had was with the Monarch birdshot. Those holes would not eject. I don't really know what the problem is. They also do feel tight when I try to load them into the chamber of the gun. So it's probably just something to do with cheap ammo being cheap ammo. You can see, just for fun, I did some, I guess, air quotes, tactical drills to try to rapidly fire, reload, and fire again. I did this 2 or 3 times. It's fun, but it's not fast. The Brawler is better than harsh language in a fight, but wouldn't be my first, 10th, or 100th choice for a dedicated fighting gun. Reliability isn't really a problem. There isn't much to fail. If the hammer drops, the gun fires. As long as it doesn't break, it's going to work fine. It seems like it's well made. I've never heard any complaints about the Rossi single-shot rifles, and this is just a pistol version of that. I fired mostly birdshot because 410 buckshot's pretty expensive and also kind of hard to find. So this thing went through several hundred rounds of 410 birdshot from Winchester, a lot from Monarch because that's the cheapest, and needed a little bit from S&B.
Felt a lot better with this grip than the standard vertical grip.
What did our range time teach us? Would the Brawler be a decent survival gun? A fun hunting weapon? A good pest controller? Sure, I guess. I mean, it'll work okay if you're willing to buy the dedicated 410 handgun loads. If you do that, then it's fairly functional and you have a cheap gun that can, be thrown into a backpack, a hiking pack, and have a lot of potential to take down threats, dispatch snakes, things like that. However, if you want a cheap gun that can shoot cheap ammo for serious use, this ain't it, Chief. One thing I would do, even if you don't swap the handguard, I would swap the rear grip for a shockwave design, and I really think Rossi should just produce it with a shockwave style grip, or Shockwave Industries should produce a grip for the Rossi. It fits perfectly. It's very easy to do. It's very easy to modify with a Dremel to do it anyway. But if you do choose to do this, you're probably voiding your warranty, so, be careful. The shockwave grip just makes the gun much more comfortable to shoot. Ultimately, if you buy a Brawler, I think it's best used as a fun gun. I honestly think like a good semi-auto 22 is probably a better hiking gun. It's lighter, probably more reliable, easier to shoot. I could keep going on and on. Unless you have to deal with big dangerous animals, I don't think that the Brawler can do anything a 22 LR pistol can't. But if you want a fun gun, have fun. It's a cheap, fun gun. Go shoot steel, try to shoot clays out of the air if you can. Ride the recoil, kind of enjoy that recoil, pass it around with your friends. It's that kind of gun. It's like a just fun. It's a goof-off gun, if you will. And if you can accept it as a cheap, fun gun that's not going to be relied on for anything serious, I don't think you'll regret your purchase. So check the Brawler out. Let me know what you think. Would you buy one? Would you use it for serious use?
Well, that's not good.